Oh, hey there, guys. Here for your annual checkup. I just need to get some quick data, and we'll talk about how you've been doing over the course of the past year, past 10 years, and where you're going from here. Sound familiar? It should if you're seeing a doctor on a regular basis, but today I'm not talking about humans. I'm talking about engines. We all need to check up on our engines at least annually, if not more than that, to make sure our little engines are doing good. We rely on these things for safety, and a lot of us are curious how they're doing health-wise. But is there a good way to test that? We can't exactly draw blood work on an engine, right? There are certain things we can do, and I want to talk about that. But first, I need a shirt I can get dirty in. You guys may have heard of blowby, and I'm here to spark a couple questions. Why do new engines have a ton of it? Why do old engines sometimes have none of it? And why do engines in between have some of it? Can understanding the phenomenon of engine blowby help us determine the overall health of an engine? Let's find out together. Morning, everyone. I'm Meredith here with Madam Diesel. Welcome back to the shop. Today, we're going to get a bit scientific with engines. I've been testing a variety of engines to gather some conclusions on how blowby can determine where in their life stages they are. We're going to get scientific in this one, so hang on for the ride. You totally want to learn about engines, don't you? Yeah, you're my engine dog. She is not that interested in engines right now. Are you interested in engines? No, you just want to chill? Okay. Now, before we jump into any conclusions, I want to make sure everyone is on the same page about what blowby actually is. Blowby is where compression gases that should be in our compression chamber leak past our piston rings and piston, potentially other things like our valves, down into the crankcase of the engine. Blowby is not a good thing, and a healthy engine should have a very, very minuscule amount of it. Now, how is blowby measured? Well, like the beginning of the video, most people test it by pulling an oil cap off a running engine and sticking their hand over it and seeing if they feel puffing. In the engineering world, we actually use what's called a flow meter that measures the volume of air escaping through that oil fill cap. And it will actually give us a proper numerical value of how much air is escaping via the crankcase. Here's where understanding blowby is becoming a lot more interesting, because I've been working with a company called JTEC. They're based out of Iowa, and they've actually created a flow meter, like I've been talking about in the video, that can actually measure the volume of air coming out of the crankcase via, our oil fill cap. This system is a prototype. They're currently developing this. So this one that you're going to see in the video, this is not a sales pitch. All I'm doing with this is gathering, data about different marine engines and trying to understand their patterns. And so, this is a prototype kit. This is the hose. We've got some kind of generic adapters. We've been making adapters. And then this is the actual setup, our flow meters and everything. And this is how I get a numerical readout of what our engine's doing. Now, this kit is changing as I speak. They're currently working on more of a digital readout that can document numbers. This particular prototype kit just shows me numbers in live time, which so far has been fine, but it would be excellent to be able to graph it and record that data. Especially when I'm doing, like engines every year, the same engine every year. I'll be able to, eventually document that customer's engine and watch the progression of change over time so we can assess where the engine's health is. This gives me an actual volumetric reading of how much air is coming out of the crankcase of the engine. Right now, my focus has been mostly Yanmars because I work on Yanmars. I also have several, generic adapters at the moment. I know JTEC is actually making, oil fill caps. We're just testing out some different ideas right now, seeing what works, what doesn't. And these caps will be able to screw into the actual oil fill hole and seal properly instead of trying to make, a rubber adapter fit like I've been trying to do. So, this is kind of the first time this kit has been made mobile. And so what I've been doing with it is I've kind of been testing my own theories of how I think break-in should be performed and watching the actual data to see if what I'm recommending is actually working. And that's pretty cool. I'm also able to test my theory of, do I expect more blow-by on perhaps a new or a rebuilt engine? Do I expect more blow-by on, maybe an engine that I know hasn't been run hard? Or do I expect more blow-by on an engine that's been broken in? And so far, this has kind of proven some of my theories and disproven others, which is really interesting and fun to get into. So I tested a variety of Yanmars so far with this kit, and there's two particular engines that I want to show you guys because they show kind of the most consistent data on, like what I've been preaching for a long time. And the findings are quite interesting, and it confirms what most of us believe, where if you don't break your engine in properly, you're going to have a lot of blow-by, and if you do break your engine in properly, you're going to have close to zero. So check that out. A part of the fun of testing all of my hypotheses here is I get to test it in beautiful places. The first engine we're looking at here is a Yanmar 4JH57. At the time of testing, it only had about 4 hours, and I tested it at a variety of RPM. This engine has what seems like a very high amount of blow-by, but it's not broken in yet. It's barely been run. And if the braking goes properly, I expect to see, my blow-by numbers get down close to zero. When you look at the video, you can actually see oil residue just shooting out of this thing. This thing is really blowing right now. And I want to see that go away in time. Engine number 2 is a Yanmar 2GM20F with approximately 400 hours, and this engine has never really been run over 1500 RPM, and so it had significant blow-by, and this blow-by most likely is not going to go away because it was never broken in properly. I compared this engine to my 3YM20, and I had almost no blow-by, but I also run it at 3000 RPM cruising speed. And so that's the result. Now, of course, those findings, aren't perfectly conclusive yet, right? I only have a small handful of engines that I've tested, but I'm starting to see a pattern, and, it's really helping me understand whether what I've been recommending is actually helping people, which is super cool. I'm going to continue testing a variety of engines, not just Yanmars, and I'm curious if I'm going to start seeing kind of the same results from the same type of operation, or whether I'm going to see some outliers. So I'm going to do a video series on this for those of you engine nerds like me who want to kind of get sciencey when it comes to these engines. I hope you enjoyed the video so far, and I will catch up with you guys in the next one.